Hello everyone and welcome to the Downton Index, and in today's episode of Format Battle I'll be going over the card Blaster Blade, most specifically the grade 2 version. So if you're new to Format Battle and you don't know what it is, I'll explain. Format Battle is a series in where we take one card that has both a standard and a premium counterpart. We then go through the card and see what differences both cards have. So for example, appearance, attack power and shield value, and skills. Once we've gone through all of that, I'll then give you my opinion on which card I prefer to use, and I'll ask you the same question. At the end of the video, I'll be giving you an example on how the skill works as well, so you can look forward to that. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. So the first card we have is the premium version of Blaster Blade. Should just be able to see it just up here. Now if we analyse the appearance of both cards, for the premium and for the standard, we can see that art-wise they're pretty similar. The only real key difference is the background and the characters that appear in the background. As you can see in the premium card art, it has what we need to speculate as being other Royal Paladins, units that we haven't heard of yet. However, if you look in the standard version, you can quite clearly at the top of the stairs see Alfred, or at least a variation of Alfred. So that's really the only difference between the two cards in terms of appearance. So then we'll move on to the attack and shield value. So the premium has 9,000 attack. Now this is quite similar to pretty much every grade 2 that has an ability back in the day when this Blaster Blade was just the original Blaster Blade on its own. However, if we look over to the standard version, we can see clearly that it has 10,000. Why this is not really explained to us as to why he got a power boost. However, it's consistent throughout the rest of the cards in the new V series, much like it was consistent for the premium cards to have 9,000 and a skill. Now if we look at shield value, they're both the same. They both have 5,000 defense value, and they both hold the intercept ability, which is basically the standard ability for all grade 2s. So then we move on to the skills. Now if we first just look at the premium Blaster Blade, the first skill reads as following: when placed on the Vanguard circle, counterblast 2 cards and retire 1 of your opponent's units. Its secondary skill is very similar to that of its first. It's when placed on the rearguard circle, counterblast 2 and retire 1 unit that is grade 2 or below. So both of those skills could be quite useful early game, and they were useful back when premium cards were the only cards to have. However, nowadays, if we look at the standard version of Blaster Blade, we can see that he has a bit more of a better skill. So, first skill, if you have 4 or more rearguards, you get +1 critical, meaning that when you attack, you basically deal 2 damage instead of 1 if your attack goes through. And his other ability is on Vanguard or Rearguard, counterblast 1 card and soul blast 1 card. If you do this, you can then retire 1 unit from your opponent's front row. Now this works very well with the first skill of this card, because if you retire a grade 2 unit, your opponent can't intercept with that unit. Therefore your attack is more likely to go through, and if you have the extra critical, then that will just help you gain a better lead on your opponent. So I've talked about the skills, and I've talked about the appearance, and I've talked about the shield and attack value. Now personally, for myself, I prefer to use the new standard version. I just find it more versatile, and because more cards and more support are coming out for the V series, I'm more leaning towards just sticking with cards from that sort of format. However, it's up to you guys in the comment section down below to tell me, what card do you prefer? Do you prefer the nostalgic original Blaster Blade? Or do you prefer the new and improved standard Blaster Blade? Now, if you're still watching, thanks so much. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've learned a little bit today about the difference between the two cards. Now, after I say goodbye and thank you, which will just be in a second, you'll be able to see the skills in action, so stick around for that. But other than that, I hope you will enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing your comments down below. Bye guys. Until next time. Okay, so let's have a look at the skills in action. So, we're going to start off with the Premium Blaster Blade, just here. So, as I said earlier, the skill is when placed on the Vanguard circle, counterblast 2 cards from your damage zone, so 1, 2, and choose a unit of your opponent's to retire. So in this situation, if you're going to attack next, you retire the grade 2. Place it into the drop zone. Now, let's have a look at his second ability. So second ability is, when placed on the rear guard, counterblast 2 cards, and then retire a grade 1, 2, or 0. So basically a grade 2 or less. So, is a grade 1 there? Retire it. Simple as that. So, not only can you get rid of an intercept, you can also get rid of your opponent's next attacking card, especially if they haven't got many cards in their hand, or they draw a grade higher than what they can currently use. So now we'll take a look at the standard skills. So Blaster Blade in standard, again, I said earlier in the video that he has an extra critical if you have 4 or more rear guards, which if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 is bigger than 4, so the skill will activate when attacking. Now this isn't applied for just one turn. This is applied for every turn this card is on the Vanguard circle. So, bird attack. Your opponent can't guard, the attack will go through. So they'll check 2 cards. 1, 2. Simple as that. Now, we'll look at the other skill. We'll swap those 2 over. This says when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, so we'll place it down, counterblast 1, and Soul Blast 1 card. Soul Blasting is taking 1 card from your soul, placing it into your drop zone. And then you can retire 1 unit from your opponent's front row. So we'll get rid of the intercept unit and put it into the drop zone. Simple as that. So both skills are very simple, but can be very effective and useful in the early game. So that's a quick example of how the skills work.